Everybody, please stand up. Mr. Ken, can you lead us to prayer, please? Amen. So, good morning, everyone. Okay, please be seated. So now, let's check your attendance first. It seems like everybody is present today. Very good, everyone. So, did you bring your assignments with you today? Okay, pass it forward. So, before we proceed to our new lesson for today, let's have a short recap first. So, what was our lesson yesterday all about? Yes, very good. Our lesson yesterday is all about literary device. So, who can give me the meaning of a literary device? Yes, Mr. Yap? Very good. So, when we say literary device, it is the techniques that the writers use to enhance their writing, convey meaning, and also to evoke their emotions. So, who can give me who can give me one example of a literary device? Yes? Very good. So, one of the example of a literary device is the simile. Another one, very good, is the metaphor. Also, the metaphor is a example of a literary device. So now, are you ready for our new lesson? Okay, that's good to hear. But before that, let's have our motivation for us to so that our brain will be energized. So our motivation is entitled Find the Difference. So can you please read the title of our motivation? Very good. Find the difference. So I have here two pictures. I will present two pictures here. There. So all you have to do is to observe and identify the difference between the two pictures, and then I will only give you 5 minutes to do that, and then you will share your observation or your insights in our class. So are you ready? Okay, your time starts now. Okay, time is up. So who can give me, or who will be the first to share his or her observation about the two pictures? Yes? Very good. So the first picture shows that a man is confused whether he will follow the angel here in his right side, which is represented as a good deed, and this one is the evil one, which is also represented as the bad deed. Very good. So how about the second picture? Yes, the second picture shows a two group of people that are debating and discussing with one another. Very good. That's a good observation. So now let's have our first activity. So I have here a copy of a short story, and all you have to do is to prepare a 1/2 sheet of paper, and then you will identify the conflict in the story and how the conflict is being resolved here in the story. So I will only give you 10 minutes to answer it, and I will give the short story to you. So get one and pass. So your 10 minutes starts now. Okay, time is up. So all of the papers, kindly please pass it forward. Late papers will not be accepted. So now, I have a question, everyone. So do you know anyone who don't have any worries in life or any problems in life? or any conflict in their life? No. Because, what is the reason? Yes, very good. Because anyone or everyone has their own problems, has their own experiences, has their own conflicts in life. Even us, even me, I have a problem in my life. So, have you ever experienced a conflict between your friend or one of your family? Yes? You want to share a short story about your life? Oh, really? So, how the conflict between the two of you being resolved? Oh, that's great. Very good. So, you can find the solution, or you can resolve the problem or the conflict by having an open communication with your friend or one of your family. Yes, very good. You need to have a open communication so that the two of you will discuss what the problem is and also to find a solution to resolve the problem. Very good. So now, what do you think is our lesson for today? Yes? Another one? Very good, exactly. But before that, let's read our learning objectives first. So there it is. So our objectives for today is, by the end of the lesson, the students should be able to identify the different types of conflict in literature. B, evaluate how literature portrays conflicts between individuals or groups. And then, lastly, understand how literature can offer insights into resolving real-world conflicts. So this is our learning objective. So let's go back on our discussion. Our lesson for today. So our lesson for today So what comes into your mind when you hear the word conflict? Yes, Mr. Yap. Very good. Another answer? Yes? Okay, very good. So when we say conflict, it is a struggle between opposing forces essential in driving the plot in literature. But not only in literature, but conflict also what? Yes, we can also apply it in a real life scenario because in real life there is also a conflict. So, who can give me an example of a conflict? Just one example. Very good. Yes, another? Oh. Okay, so one of the example of a conflict is that when your friend and you have a misunderstanding. So that was also considered as a conflict. So in conflict, there are two types of conflict. When we say conflict, there are two types of conflict. So the first type of conflict is the internal conflict. So what comes into your mind when we say internal conflict? Does anyone has an idea? Yes, Cyrus? Very good. So when we say internal conflict, it is a character struggle with their own thoughts and emotions. So, when we say internal conflict, it is the struggle, or it involves a character struggle within themselves, such as battling with their emotions and their desires. So just like for example here, Hamlet debating in his indecision about whether to take revenge on his uncle for murdering his father. So in the story Hamlet by William Shakespeare, Hamlet is battling with himself if he will obey his desire to revenge or to kill his uncle or not. So that is an example of a internal conflict. He is battling with himself. So that is considered as a internal conflict. So the second type of conflict is the external conflict. So external conflict is different from internal conflict, because in external conflict, a character struggle with an outside force like another character, nature, or a villain. So when we say external conflict, it involves a character struggle against an outside force, or which can be another character or another person, which can be a nature or supernatural, or even technology. It is also considered as an external conflict. So just like for example, Romeo and Juliet. So I know that you have already heard the story of Romeo and Juliet, the tragic love story of a couple who are caught up in a larger feud between their families. So Romeo and Juliet is considered as an external conflict. It's because Romeo and Juliet short story, or I mean Romeo and Juliet's story is the story of two young lovers from a wealthy and a powerful family, which are the Montague and the Capulets. So the two young lovers fell in love with each other deeply, but their families had their conflict, so that they are not allowed to be in a relationship because of their families. But then despite their family's feud, they decide to get married, and then they decide to get married, and they are helped by they get married with the help of their friars, and then they are hope. That's the reason why that Romeo and Juliet decide to get married, because of their families. They are hoping that their love, or because of they already married, their love or their situation might end the feud between their families. But then, so let's go back in our first type of conflict. So our first example, do you think our first example get resolved or unresolved? What do you think, in your own idea, in your own perspective? So our first example is here in the internal conflict is that Hamlet is, or the story ends with what? The story left unresolved because Hamlet died because of the what? Because of the poison. So in the external conflict, let's go back here in the second example. In the first example of the external conflict, the Romeo and Juliet. Do you think the story of Romeo and Juliet already being resolved or get resolved or left unresolved. So what do you think? Who can give me their insights about, since you are already familiar with the story of Romeo and Juliet, what do you think is the solution, or what is it's the Romeo and Juliet story get resolved or left unresolved? Yes, the Romeo and Juliet story get resolved, but it's too late because when their family discovered that the two couple were already died, they that that was the time that they decide to finally agree to end their what? Yes, to end their conflict, but it is too late. So now, let's have our group activity. Yes, we have our group activity. Just wait for a while. So, the direction is, the class will be divided into 3 groups, and then you will you are the one to choose your group mates, and then each group will receive a brief passage or a short summary of the assigned story, and I will only give you 10 to 15 minutes to read and discuss the passage as a group, and then in your discussion, you should focus on the following points. The first one is what is the central conflict of the story. The second is what is the impact of the conflict in the life of the characters, and lastly, how the characters resolve the conflict. So your 15 minutes starts now. So go to your group. Okay, 15 minutes. Only 15 minutes. Okay, time is up. So I have a question. Let's discuss your realizations about our topic. So, how do the characters' struggles in literature help us deal with our own problems? Anyone who has an insight or who has an answer, who has an idea about how do the characters struggle in the literature help us with our own problem? Yes? Yes, very good. So we can so the literature help us deal with our own problems by giving or showing some scenarios that could help us to resolve or resolve our own problems, and by making ourselves more flexible when we face a conflict or a problem in our life. So next is, what can we learn about the conflict resolution from reading the literature? Who wants to answer? Yes, the boy at the back. Very good. So the characters' struggles helps us with our own problems by thinking, or we can learn about the conflict of the resolution from the literature by, yes, very good. So now since you have already, I think you have already understood our topic for today, let's have our short quiz. You will answer here. It's just a 10 items only. I will distribute it to you. So please get one and pass. So I will only give you 10 minutes to answer it. Okay, 10 minutes. Okay, time is up. So all of the papers, kindly please pass it forward. Late papers will not be accepted. So now, since we have already done with our with our discussion for today, kindly, you have an assignment that will be passed tomorrow. So your assignment is read a short story or a novel and then identify the types of conflict presented in it. You should prepare a brief presentation or written report on how the conflicts were resolved or left unresolved. So it is clear? Understood, students? Okay. So that concludes our discussion for today. Thank you for listening and thank you for coming. God bless everyone.